Coming up, hear about how Bostonians celebrate the city's rich history of Irish immigration.
And more on the annual St. Patrick's Day parade that attracts 1 million people to the city.
And how one local step dancer honors Irish culture through movement. All that and more on Emerald Echoes. Hello and welcome to Emerald Echoes, a WEBJ news special. I'm Callie Krosin.
And I'm Bailule Hadgembes. Today we'll explore the rich Irish culture and history here in Boston.
From renowned pubs to the world-famous Boston Celtics, the city is full of iconic Irish institutions, and it all goes back to the historic waves of Irish immigration to Boston. Irish immigration to the United States started as early as the 1650s. Families worked for 5 to 7 years under indentured servitude in hopes to go their own way and start a new life. Similar to today, immigration to the U.S. comes with its own unique set of challenges. We go to WEBJ's Katharine Thomas for more on the history and lasting impacts of Irish immigration to Boston.
The mass movement of Irish immigration to Boston resulted from more than just a potato famine. The first wave started with indentured servants. Colonial tensions impacted Irish lives. British control of Ireland created what is widely known as the Irish potato famine, which was a man-made crisis.
It's something that could have been avoided, and it wasn't. And the population dropped, I think, by 7 million, 25%. The population of Ireland has never regained what it was before the potato famine, even today.
Chris Daly is a New England-based historian. For the past 30 years, he has been leading historical presentations like the 90-minute No Irish Need Apply, a history of the Irish in Boston. The third wave of Irish immigration arrives in the form we think of today, a migration aimed to increase economic opportunities and improve quality of life. Though the history of Irish immigration is filled with trials and tribulations, the Irish are not a defeated people, using music to get through hard times and gather in jubilation. On March 8th, people of all ages and mainly Irish heritage filed into the Kennedy Library in South Boston to see the Celtic Bells, a Scottish and Irish family performing a collection of music aimed to celebrate and reflect on the story of Irish immigration.
Callie, you would have someone sing a song, someone tell a story, some dancing, some music, and it's basically people making their own fun. And as they come over here, they continue to make their own fun. They continue to celebrate and console themselves.
Irish immigration has grown Boston into the city it is through political, religious, and even musical influence. For Emerald Echoes, I'm Katharine Thomas.
Thanks, Kat. John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was born and raised in Brookline, a suburb of Boston. Kennedy was the first Irish Catholic President of the United States. At the time of his win, he was representing Massachusetts in the U.S. Senate. He defeated incumbent Vice President Richard Nixon. In June 1963, he became the first sitting president to visit Ireland, his ancestral homeland. President Kennedy wasn't the only member of his family to leave a mark on Boston. The Kennedys had been influential political figures in the city for generations. With more on this, we go to WEBJ correspondent Lindsay Perdue. Lindsay?
Thanks, Bailule. President Kennedy traveled to Europe in the summer of 1963. He delivered an address to the Irish National Parliament at the Leinster House in Dublin. It marked the first time a foreign dignitary addressed both houses of Irish Parliament.
It is that quality of the Irish, the remarkable combination of hope, confidence, and imagination that is needed more than ever today. The problems of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics whose horizons are limited by the obvious realities. We need men who can dream of things that never were and ask why not.
President Kennedy also talked about the strong history of Irish-American relations, including his own lineage. All 8 of Kennedy's great-grandparents immigrated from Ireland to the U.S. in the 19th century during the potato famine. They all settled in the Boston area. By the end of the 19th century, both sides of the family established themselves within Boston politics. Kennedy's grandfather, John Honey Fitzgerald, served in the Massachusetts House, Senate, and as mayor of Boston for 3 terms. His other grandfather, Patrick Kennedy, also served in the State House and Senate. Patrick's son Joseph served as a leader of the Irish and Democrat communities within Boston. He served as ambassador to the United Kingdom under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He raised his 9 children in Boston with his wife, Rose Kennedy. He's pictured here with 2 of them, Joseph Jr. and John in Brookline. This little one went on later to represent Massachusetts in both the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. John F. Kennedy clinched the presidency in 1960. The Kennedy family still has a strong hold on Boston and U.S. politics and culture. Matt Porter is the Associate Director for Communications for the JFK Library Foundation. He works to preserve the Kennedy legacy here in the city through the library.
Politicians that still have the Kennedy name here, Joe Patrick Kennedy III, for example, I mean, they follow that idea that they are making decisions not because it's politically expedient for them, but because it is better for the greater good.
The JFK Presidential Library is in Dorchester. You can find touches of the Kennedy family all around Boston, from the Rose Kennedy Greenway to the John F. Kennedy Federal Building and Government Center. Back to you at the desk.
After the break, get an inside look at the Boston St. Patrick's Day Parade.
And more on how one local pub honors the Irish all year long. All that and more on Emerald Echoes.
Attacks against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are on the rise.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer. In terms of the hate crimes, I think there is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
I love you!
Welcome back to Emerald Echoes.
Bostonians were the first to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in North America. In 1901, the parade moved to run along the streets of South Boston. Each year, an estimated 1 million people traveled to Boston to watch the St. Patrick's Day Parade and partake in the day's festivities. This year in particular, Boston city officials made changes to the parade schedule and rules in order to ensure public safety. With more on this, we go to WEBJ's Shelby O'Brien, who spoke to parade spectators and officials.
For over 2 centuries, the St. Patrick's Day Parade has gone on here in Boston. Festivities dating back to 1724 were held as a way to celebrate the arrival of the first Irish immigrants. People like the Herrero family line the streets of this 3.5-mile-long route through South Boston.
We've done New Year's, we've done 4th of July, so now we're doing St. Patty's Day.
With over 1 million people attending the parade each year, the Herreros, like many others, made sure to leave early.
And it was just a sea of young kids, like packed, literally like sardines on the train.
To keep everyone safe, the parade started earlier and parade goers are expected to be on their best behavior.
Last year was pretty crazy. People were really acting out of order, I know. The trains were insane. I saw people like urinating on the ground, like girls were throwing up.
Like fights?
Yeah, on the streets. A couple kids were at school almost got arrested because there were like so many fights. Like it was just insane.
Parade Commander Randy Greeley made changes to this year's parade to give everyone the best experience.
When people leave, other people got to be there to clean up the mess. So respect the neighbors, respect our elders, and ultimately respect our veterans.
This marks the second year Greeley is heading up the parade. The importance of the parade to the city is not lost on him.
Growing up there and having my uncle and some other great veterans before me run and organize this parade, I knew there was big shoes to fill, and there still are big shoes to fill, but being the commander, I hope to follow in their footsteps.
The parade features musical performances and appearances from popular organizations and local figures. For Emerald Echoes, I'm Shelby O'Brien.
Thanks, Shelby. The St. Patrick's Day Parade is celebrated just one day of the year. However, the party does not have to end with the month of March. We go live to WEBJ's Payton Cavanaugh with more on how one local Irish pub keeps the Celtic celebrations going all year long.
Thanks, Callie. We're here at JJ Foley's in Boston's South End, and as you can see behind me, the crowd has not yet formed. But once it hits happy hour, business is booming, and it's been this way since 1909.
My grandfather came over from Ireland. He worked many jobs, saved his money, and in 1909, he started this business.
Jeremiah Foley, an immigrant from County Kerry, Ireland, founded the iconic Irish pub JJ Foley's in the early 1900s. And with 116 years of serving the Boston community, JJ Foley's is much like a strong glass of Irish whiskey. Only gets better with age. JJ Foley's recently celebrated their 116th anniversary, attracting customers young and old to their iconic location in Boston's South End.
I really love Foley's. I'm like a regular here. It sounds a little weird because I'm a kid.
For some, it's the Irish heritage and the community atmosphere. But what else keeps folks coming back for more?
Probably the Mac Daddy Burger.
Dark beers and stouts.
Boston City Councilor Erin Murphy is a proud grandchild of Irish immigrants. She dedicates her work in local office to amplifying Irish heritage in the city, from recognizing March as the official Irish Heritage Month in Boston to arranging various citywide events to honor Irish immigrants. She is a fierce advocate for the Irish community.
We're very welcoming all year round, but I always say in March, everyone can be Irish.
Rich with culture and history, JJ Foley's has become a hub for all things Irish in Boston. And as the oldest pub in the city, they attribute years of success to one thing: family.
A place where people come a couple times a week for dinner. That's where they always celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, after weddings even. So I think it's the family and the tradition that keeps people coming back.
Whether it's for the Irish history or meeting with old friends, JJ Foley's is a Boston staple. From Boston, for Emerald Echoes, I'm Payton Cavanaugh.
After the break, more on how the Celtics and their famous leprechaun logo have impacted Irish culture in Boston.
All that and more on Emerald Echoes.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Welcome back to Emerald Echoes. The Boston Celtics represent New England in the NBA. The team formed nearly 80 years ago and have dominated ever since. The Celtics are currently battling the Orlando Magic in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The C's clinched the championship last season, but before becoming iconic Boston champions, the Celtics actually got their start in a different state. We go live to WEBJ's Faith Pinnow over at TD Garden to hear more about the history of the Celtics and their Irish imagery. Faith?
Thanks so much. Yes, at the heart of Boston's West End is TD Garden, home to the Boston Celtics. Now, it's one of the city's most visible nods to their strong Irish culture. It's not just the green jerseys, the leprechaun mascot, or the shamrock logo. It goes much further than that. Now, when Boston sports executive Walter Brown first looked to find a team in 1946, he wanted to embrace the city's strong Irish population. His inspiration came from the original Celtics, a New York basketball team that played traveling exhibition games in the 1920s. And nearly 2 decades after the court went cold for the originals, Brown resurrected the name. According to legend, the idea struck Brown during a brainstorming session with his public relations director, Howie McHugh. Boston's full of Irishmen, Brown said. We'll put them in green and call them the Boston Celtics. It was then Red Auerbach, the legendary former coach of the Celtics, who enlisted his brother to design the logo. The infamous image features a caricature of Irish-American culture in the 1950s, a leprechaun in a shamrock clothing with a bowling hat, cigar, shillelagh, and a mischievous grin. Today, the Celtics remain the most winningest team in the NBA, and it might be the luck of the Irish, but they have 18 championship banners to prove it. For Emerald Echoes, live from TD Garden, I'm Faith Pinnow.
Coming up, we'll hear from a local dancer about the cultural significance of Irish step.
More after the break.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah! Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back to Emerald Echoes.
Irish step dancing has ancient Celtic roots from the late 17th century. The dance style has evolved throughout the decades alongside the development of Irish music.
We recently had the opportunity to learn more about Irish step dancing and even pick up some new moves. Boston is a big city filled with Irish history and culture, so I'd love for you to talk to us a bit about how Irish dance plays a role in the culture and history here in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been dancing with Rebecca McGowan, who teaches classes in Arlington and Cambridge, and what I really love about dancing with Rebecca is that she teaches a great mix of like older style steps that are really, really traditional, and then some newer steps as well. But the cool part is that we also, like, through knowing other dancers in the Boston area, we know about social dances, whether they be in like Watertown, there's often some, or like the Irish Cultural Center, which I think is in Canton, or just going to the Burren when they have like a trad session on Sundays and like dancing a couple steps there. So it really like brings together a lot of dancers, whether it be like really traditional steps or kind of the more modern stuff, even to like the social like Callie dances that you can do in big groups. It's like really cool to know that there's such a strong history of that in Boston and that it's like continuing now. Yeah, so first things, in Irish dancing, the big one is that you might already know is that your arms usually stay by your side. Sometimes you get a little fancy and do like hands on hips, but nothing crazy unless you're in a big show. And the second thing is your foot position. So if you start out in first, which is a common ballet position, then in Irish dance we mostly stand in fifth position, which is when you take your right foot and move it so that your heel is touching the top of your toe. And you guys look like you both got that one, so perfect. Great start. Yeah, so what I'm going to be teaching first is a couple of basics. They're traveling steps that then you can put together into some other combinations to make longer steps. The first one, it's really easy to remember. We call them threes or 1, 2, 3s because there's 3 steps in them and you can kind of count it to get it going. So you start, you can point your toe if you want, and then bring your right foot up, so that's the up, and then you go 1, 2, 3. So forward, back, forward. And then to switch to the next, your foot that's in the back, it comes up, and then goes 1, 2, 3, and then we can just continue doing that. So up, 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a good start.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was a kid, sometime in elementary school, I had gone to an Irish festival with my mom. She loves Irish music and all things kind of Irish culture. And so we had gone to an Irish festival in Newport, Rhode Island, and they had step dancers there. And after that, she signed me up for classes, and I kind of stuck with it ever since. I danced all through high school with a school in Rhode Island, and then once I moved to Boston, I took some classes with a couple teachers here. And I've just loved being able to continue doing it, like in my adulthood as well. Point and point, and then we're gonna do a back 2, 3, and then we'll do the same thing on the left. We'll do point and point, back 2, 3. Do you want to do the right and the left together?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go point and back 2, 3, point and back 2, 3. So that's the beginning. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Good?
I'm catching
Okay.
your drift.
And then after those, we'll do 1, 7 to the right. So we'll go up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then what we'll end it to with is another point and back 2, 3. And that's the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask if you had any idea of what Irish dancing would be like compared to what you learned. Did you have any idea, or were you surprised?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a friend, an old roommate, who did the competitive Irish dancing, as I told you about, and I've seen videos, but I've also just seen pictures of the really intricate outfits, and her hair is super high in a bun. So I didn't have any. Maybe from the Irish jig, but I didn't really have any idea of what we'd really be doing in terms of steps and count, more of the visuals.
Yeah, it was definitely more intricate. Actually, I was gonna say it's definitely more intricate than I thought, but actually from seeing videos, it seems like the most complicated form of dance.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Point and back 2, 3. Point and back 2, 3. Up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Point and back 2, 3. Yeah, how do you feel this time?
I feel like we got it.
I just feel like we got it. It sounded like you did.
That might have been our best one.
Arms and the not wiggling around, so that's helpful. And then also just being stretching. It wasn't so much for this kind of stuff, but your calves especially will eventually feel it. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that is really helpful. But I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ready, go. Point and back 2, 3. Point and back 2, 3. Up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Point and back 2, 3. I think you got it.
I think that was pretty good. Incredible job. Well, we'd love to see some of your more advanced moves so that Bailule and I can really know what we're striving for in the next few weeks. Do you mind sharing some of those with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do 2 real steps for you now. It's the same kind of dance that we just learned, just a little bit extra thrown in.
Okay,
Looking forward
awesome.
to it.
We'll stand right over here in the corner.
Sure.
So Callie, what was your favorite part about that experience?
It's hard to pick just one, but I really enjoyed speaking with Julia and asking her some questions and learning about what got her into Irish dance. What was your favorite part?
I think just learning the dance moves. I mean, it was really complicated, but I think we got it. I mean, looking back at that footage, I think we did pretty good, and I hope to use those dance moves in the future.
I know, I'm very impressed. I look forward to seeing your moves soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching Emerald Echoes, a WEBJ News special. I'm Bailule Hadgembes.
And I'm Callie Krosin.